See, you're sitting here thinking, oh, as long as I get to $1 million, I'll made it. As long as I hit to 5 million, I'll be free. If I can get close to 20 million, I'm set. Maybe, but not really.
Welcome to Success Unleashed, Beyond the Job Site, the only podcast created to help contractors win in business and in life. Now your host, Garrett Bake.
Welcome back to another episode of the Success Unleashed podcast. If you haven't figured it out by now, there's a couple things that we want to provide for you on this show. The first is practical information that you can use to grow your contracting business. Whether you're a trade business owner or whether you're a contractor, remodeler, it doesn't matter. We want to give you the information that you can apply to your business today to grow. And number two, we want to give you real life stories, real life examples, so that you can see and hear and feel people talking about their struggles, about their journey, about how it is that they got to where they're at. Because the truth is, we're much more alike than we are different. And that's a good thing. And today I really want to focus on telling you some stories of some contractors, without revealing their names, but that have struggled. And I want to share with you why they struggled and what you need to do so that you don't end up like they did. And I'm going to start off by sharing some numbers with you. 17 million, 5.6 million, 1.2 million, 500,000, 250,000. Now, what are these numbers? They might seem random to you, but they're not random because each number represents the revenue of a construction company, of a contractor before they went to zero. Now, what do I mean that they went to zero? I mean, it bankrupted the company. 17 million, plumbing contractor, service-based, super focused on providing a service for their customers and their clients. The problem is they weren't marketing. And because they weren't marketing, when they lost their clients, their corporate clients, they had nothing to fall back on. And by the time they had figured it out, it was too late. 5.6 million. A company that was very super focused in one area. And then all of a sudden the competition came in, a national chain, and took them out. And they were gone. 1.2 million. Another contractor who thought that because he passed the 7-figure mark, he could hire a team to execute on the thing that they should execute on, and he could go fishing, literally. Only he came back 90 days later, and the business had burned to the ground. 500,000, same story. Super focused on one thing and ignoring the rest, and it all fell apart. 250,000, burnt out. One-man band. Now, I tell you all of these examples because I want you to understand something. Revenue is irrelevant. See, you're sitting here thinking, oh, as long as I get to $1 million, I'll made it. As long as I hit to 5 million, I'll be free. If I can get close to 20 million, I'm set. Maybe, but not really. See, because at the end of the day, what you need to realize is you didn't get into business to make money. And I know that sounds controversial, and I know that you might be a little bit pessimistic about what I'm saying right now. But understand that you're not in business to make money. You're in business to keep money. It's not the same thing. You're in business to keep money so that you can live the lifestyle that you want to live. Go on vacation, go fishing, hang out with your wife and kids, buy that house that you've always wanted, retire your parents, whatever the thing is, that's why you're in business. And if you understand that, you approach business differently. Because think about it this way. If all you're focused on is generating revenue, what are you not focused on? You're not focused on your employees. You're not focused on your marketing. You're not focused on creating a business that doesn't depend on you, right? All of these mistakes happen. And I see them happen day in and day out, which is why almost 80% of contractors fail in the first 5 years, which is why only 4% ever hit 7 figures. 0.04% ever hit 8 figures. It's not that it's not possible. It's that you as a contractor get to a point where you literally don't know what to do. Or you've painted yourself in a corner or dug yourself a hole and you can't get out of it. And I don't want it to be that way for you. I don't want you to be that guy. I want you to start thinking bigger picture. I want you to start understanding that the real reason that you're not where you want to be is because of you. I want you to understand that if your business fails, it's not the economy's fault. It's not a politician's fault. It's not the weather's fault. It's not the part of the country that you live in. It's not your competitors. It's 100% you. Even in a down economy, there's plenty of business to go around. If you're willing to understand what that looks like for you. Now, we've talked a lot about this idea of failure, right? Because I want it to be present in your mind. But I want to share with you solutions, right? What is it that you can do? I was having a conversation with a roofer out of Pennsylvania last week, and we were talking about this very particular thing. He was complaining about the fact that he didn't have time to send out his estimates. He didn't have time to follow up with his billing. He didn't have time for his wife and his daughter. And he sure as hell didn't have time for himself. And he was talking about how all these other competitors have popped up in the area and complaining and telling me that he didn't know if he could keep doing it. Now, it wasn't a shortage of work because there's plenty of work. The problem was him. And he'd painted himself in this corner. See, in this corner of dependency, at the beginning, it feels good to be wanted. It feels good to have your clients call you. It feels good to have your employees call you, to have your wife call you, right? It feels good until you realize that the success or failure of your business is dependent on you. And if you don't think this is you, let me ask you, if tomorrow you couldn't go to the office, you couldn't send any text messages, make any phone calls. You couldn't send any emails. You couldn't talk to anybody. In 30 days, would your business still be around? In 30 days, would you still have a business to come back to? Or would it all be gone? Would it all be gone because you are the man? Congratulations. You're the man. You're the person in charge. And unfortunately, that's the problem. See, you want to get to a point where your business can run without you. You can go away for a week, 2, 3, maybe 4. And you could survive. And more importantly, your business would. Because most businesses couldn't, and they can't. So when I was talking to this roofer, that's what we were talking about. He'd created this dependency inside of his work. No, he wasn't getting on the roof too often to lay shingles. But if there was specialty work, he was the guy. No, he wasn't bending metal. But because he put the big tool, the expensive tool in his truck, guess what? Every time they needed to bend metal, he was the guy. And so he's complaining about not having time to do the things that he needed to do to grow his business. It's because he's created this dependency on himself. Is that you? Are you that guy that complains that you don't have any time, but the truth is you're the one that created it? I want you to imagine for a moment that you weren't that guy. I want you to imagine for a moment that you were the guy that had the time to do what he needed to do. That you were the guy that didn't have to be there 16 hours a day. I want you to imagine that you were the guy that could grow the business the way you wanted to grow it. Playing on a golf course, hunting, fishing, traveling, instead of having to be there every single day. What would that be like? So what was the solution? You're probably wondering. For this roofer, super simple. 2 things. Number 1, give the tool to the guy running his crew. And then he could do all that work. I know. Crazy, isn't it? Solution number 2, find another crew that could do all the specialty work. And now all of a sudden he's saving himself 10 to 15 hours a week where instead of being on the job site, he could be out building his business. He could be at home catching up on his paperwork. He could be taking a day trip with his wife and his daughter instead of being on the job site. Let me give you another example. Electrician, great guy. He's doing over $2 million a year. Commercial work, big jobs, $500, $750, $1 million per job. Nice, long, steady work. So he's growing and he decides that he wants to build his team. Right move. Except that there was nothing keeping them accountable. So he hires an estimator. He hires a sales guy. He hires an office manager. And at the end of 150 days, he's fired all but one. The estimator worked out, got him lined up. The sales guy he fired after 90 days. Why? Because after 90 days, he realized there was no new work that came in. None. Fired his office manager after he found out that she was stealing from him. She wasn't following up on the outstanding invoices or bills. There was one company that owed $18,000. She showed up with $18 check. Yeah. You want to feel sorry for him. Hell, I did. But I also knew that it was his responsibility and it was his fault. I also knew that the reason that he got into that situation is because he created it, right? He wanted to have the freedom to go fishing, to go travel, to go hunt. So he put the people in place, then he walked away from it. And it all came tumbling down. Now, all these examples that I gave you, this is not a reflection on the person because they're great people. I know them. They're great people. The issue is an understanding of what actually needed to happen. So what is it that you need to do? As we're talking about your business, and you may be starting out, hey, I'm just going to be the honest guy and tell you, you're going to be working in your business for a long time. It's just the reality of it. You're doing 120, 250 a year. You're still going to be working a lot of hours and you're still going to be doing a lot of the jobs. You can't afford not to yet, right? You start pushing 750, 850, $1 million. You need to start building your team out. But how, you ask? You're a couple $1 million in. But how, you ask? You're $10 million in, which yes, I am working with a contractor that's more than $10 million in. And still, bless them, they have no idea how they got there. Because they're an organizational mess. So here's what you need to do, okay? Number one, this is the most important thing. You can't do it all at once. Sure, we'd love to. I'd love to do it all at once, but we can't. You can do one thing at a time. Fastest computer in the world. I don't even know what it is anymore. It used to be the IBM computer, but now it's something else. Fastest computer in the world. It's not that it can do multiple things at the same time. It can just do one thing really, really, really fast. Jugglers. People are like, man, jugglers, they're juggling multiple things at the same time. No, they're not. They're juggling one thing at a time very, very fast, right? You're no different. One thing at a time. So you have to figure out what that one thing is. Well, how do I know what the one thing is? I'm stuck in sales and marketing. I'm stuck on the jobs. I'm stuck doing estimates and billing. I'm stuck trying to figure out my books. I'm stuck trying to hire and fire and manage my people. I'm stuck. Okay. Well, here's a perfect example. Or I should say, here's the perfect way to figure it out. I want you to think of a garden hose. Everybody's got a garden hose. You either water in your lawn, or you're watering your driveway, or you're watering your car. It's one of those three things. If you're from the South, maybe you're watering your kids. I don't know. But it's one of these things, okay? Now think about when you turn on your hose and you're expecting this big gush of water to come out, and instead you get a little spray or a little dribble. If I asked you what that meant, you would know exactly what it means. What is it? There's a kink in the hose. What do you do when you find a kink in the hose? You go and you fix it. Kink, knot, whatever it is, right? Something's restricting the flow of water. So you got to go take it out. So then what happens once you take it out? Well, now you have the full force of the hose, of the water coming through the hose. Now, when you have that kink, I don't care how high you turn that water up, that water pressure, there's no amount of water that's going to get through there, right? You have what's called a choke point. You have something that's restricting the flow. So as you're looking at your business right now, I want you to think about it this way. What is the biggest thing that's choking my business right now? Is it marketing? Is it sales? Is it my work? Is it my people? Is it my books? What's my biggest choke point? And I appreciate those of you who are honest and say, I am my biggest choke point. I am the reason that my business is not where it needs to be. Congratulations. Yes, you're right. But that's not the answer we're looking for. I want you to get specific. Specific, we can solve a problem. Broad, you can't. So yes, accept responsibility, but we're moving past that. What is your problem? If you don't have enough leads coming in, okay, or you don't have enough work, like what's the deal? You can't get your jobs done on time. You can't get your invoices out. Like what's the real reason? What's the choke point? So once you've identified the choke point, now we can do something about it. And it's going to be one of a couple of different options, okay? So let's just say you don't have enough leads, which a lot of contractors struggle with this. You don't have enough leads. What do you need to do? Well, you need to get more leads. Cool. How do you get more leads? Angie's List? God bless the 2 or 3 of you who will figure that thing out. But for 99% of you, no. Facebook ads? No. SEO? Maybe, right? But the real reason that you can't get enough leads is number 1, you don't know who you want to work with. And number 2, you don't know how to market to them. Period. Right? So let's take a plumber, for example, right? If a plumber wants to do more residential work, a plumber needs to get in front of more residential people. Can you throw ads together? Sure. But if you're starting out, you probably don't have the money for ads. And even if you do, you probably shouldn't be spending it on ads. So you got to think who already has access to homeowners that I could build relationships with. Well, I'm going to give you a free and easy one. Realtors. Realtors deal with homeowners every single day. And if you just bought a home or you're thinking about selling a home, you got an issue with your plumbing, you're probably going to call your realtor first. Who do you know that could help me fix my plumbing? And they'll probably recommend somebody. But if you don't have a relationship with them, it's not going to be you. Want to build your business quickly? Build a relationship with realtors. Perfect example, okay? So find the choke point. Find the thing that's keeping you from growing, okay? And then address that first. If you're struggling with your jobs, it's one of 2 reasons. 1, you don't know how to project manage. Or 2, you don't have enough people, okay? Figure out which one of them it is. Everything that you do in your business is 100% related to you and your ability to either do the work yourself at the beginning or 2, get someone else to do it. Now, I know what you're saying. The peanut gallery in the back's like, I can't find any good people. No, you can't, because you don't know how to identify them, how to train them, and how to grow them. Everything that you do in your business is around a process. You got to take your feelings, wrap them up like you would a little piece of paper, throw them in the garbage can, because your feelings will not grow your business. In fact, odds are your feelings will destroy your business. What do you need to do? Make a process, create a process, build a process around the thing. Hiring, guess what, is a process, okay? What position am I hiring for? Create a clear job description, which includes roles and responsibilities and compensation. Number 2, interview. Create a series of interview questions that you ask everybody every single time. If it's a trade-specific questions, make it a working interview. If you're hiring somebody to roof and they don't know how to shingle, maybe you shouldn't be hiring them unless you want to be the guy who's training everybody from zero, right? Number 3, create a training program where you can teach the things that they're missing. But not only that, inside of the training program, it's going to teach you, or show you, I should say, whether the person can do the thing that you need them to do or not. And if they can't, see you later. This place ain't for you. Next, create a program where they can continue to grow inside of the business. Whatever the thing is that they want to do. They want to grow their bank account, show them how to do it. They want to grow into a management position, show them how to do it. They want to grow into having 2 weeks off at the end of the year every year, show them how to do it. right? Create a mutually beneficial relationship, but everything is a process. The process of finding, acquiring, training, and growing an employee. Same thing with your jobs. Same thing with your marketing. Same thing with your sales process. If you don't want to be one of those companies that I talked about at the beginning, regardless of revenue, 17 million, 5.6 million, 1.2 million, 500,000, 250,000. If you don't want to be one of those companies, you need to learn to remove yourself from the business. And the only way you're going to do that is remove yourself one role, one problem at a time. And the only way you're going to feel comfortable doing that is creating a process around it that you can hold people accountable to. That's the only way. Otherwise, congratulations. You will have a job, just over broke, a job for the rest of your life. And nobody wants that. All right. You guys know what time it is. I've been talking here for a while. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you watching. But figure out what your choke point is and go do something about it. 3, 2, 1, off you go. Thanks for listening to the Success Unleashed podcast. Before we go, show some love for your favorite podcast by liking, subscribing, and leaving us a review. Until we see you again, it's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1, off you go.